guys, my name is Rosa Kelly. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have for you the list of books that I want to read for April. You probably know I do a lot of crafts, but I also do enjoy having some quiet time and reading time, and I enjoy reading so much. So for 2020, I kind of stopped reading a little bit. My routine super changed, but this 2021, I'm determined to read some more books. My goal is to read 21 books on 2021. So for April, I wanted to include a different variety of books. I usually go for historical fiction or memoirs, but this time I wanted to include a little bit of everything. So you're gonna see a little bit of middle grade and of course historical fiction as well, but some fantasy, and I'm excited about this list. I will be back and share with you the books that I have read so far for 2021 on the, I guess I can do like a combined first quarter of the year, since we are already at the beginning of April. The good thing about reading is kind of like exercising. The more you read, the more you want to read. Just like when you go to the gym, the more you go, the more motivated you feel. So the first book that I'm going to share with you is actually one that I am carrying over from last month. This is Emma by Jane Austen. I am halfway through this book. I'm actually doing this book on audiobook and I'm really enjoying it so far. I love the audiobook version of the book because I can really feel like the English accent and I really like it. I love how they play with the voices, and so I'm gonna link below the one that I am listening to. It's from YouTube as well. It's a classic. Another goal of mine is to read more classics this year. Like I said, this is an audiobook. I kind of do read along at some times, but for the most part I listen to it as I am doing house chores or driving. So it's been really fun. It's been with me a lot and I love it. The next book that I'm gonna share with you is actually a middle grade book, and I have heard so many amazing reviews about this book, and this is The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. And so this is a book that I actually started today. I am loving it so much, so I really already know this is gonna be a fast read because it's so engaging. The books that I like to read are a little bit more heavy on that sense. I sometimes have to take a break from the book and read something a little bit lighter. So that's why I want to add some middle grade into my reading because it's definitely something very refreshing and magical about these books. So I'm super excited about this one. This book is about this town where there is a witch, and so I guess for the people in the town, they feel like they always have to do an offering to the witch. So once a year they deliver they offer a baby, which is kind of weird because so far from what I understand is like the witch has no idea why these humans are doing these offerings to her, but it's kind of interesting to see that that is the way that they feel they keep the witch away. But anyway, so one of the orphans that the witch takes care of is this girl Luna, and she accidentally gives her a little bit of moon, so she drinks the moon and she starts having magical powers, and I think the witch gets attached to Luna in a sense that she actually wants to raise her. And so I think it sounds like a really magical story. I'm only a couple chapters in, but I can tell this is going to be one of my favorites for this year so far. This next book that I want to read is Station 11, and I have heard so many reviews about this book, so I'm really interested on this story here. So this is about a flu that causes a pandemic. So right there you got me hooked because that's pretty much what we are living. So this is this situation on like the future where it's kind of like the end of the world, and I don't know a lot more about this, but I know I'm super excited to see how things develop and how there's like this whole new civilization kind of like building after this pandemic. So really interested about this book. I'll tell you more as I read it. So this next book that I have here to read is The Midnight Library, and this is by Matt Haig, and again another one that I have heard so many amazing reviews about it. So this is about this girl who actually commits suicide, and then she appears on this library, and apparently she can go through the books on the library, and each book kind of shows a different life, and she gets to see how her life would have been if she went on this different path. So I think it's a really nice book about self-discovery, and I'm really interested about like the magic behind all these books. So excited about this one as well. Okay, so this next book that I want to share with you, I am so intrigued about it. I hear this book, it's like all over the place. I see all kinds of amazing reviews and I really want to read it. But as I learn more about this book, there is this trilogy that you're supposed to be reading. It's preferably to read before you read the book that I want to read, and I guess it's not mandatory. You can still follow the story even if you don't read the trilogy before. But I really wanted to have the whole experience, and this is the first time that I'm going to be reading a fantasy book, so I wanted to know the whole story. So I went ahead and I purchased the Infernal Devices series. So I guess this is the series, and this is by Cassandra Clare. So this is the series that comes before the book Chain of Gold and Chain of Iron. So you probably know more about this book series than me, because like I said, I haven't read fantasy books before, but I'm super excited to get started with these books. So for this month, I think I'm only going to set myself the goal of reading the first book, and then I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna read one book each month, unless the story gets really interesting and I can't put it down. I'll probably try to read all of them. But anyway, so my goal is to read one of these books a month, combined with the books that I already have, and eventually make it to the Chain of Gold and the Chain of Iron. And then I know there's another one coming up. So I'm getting myself prepared for that, and I'm super excited. So I don't know much about like the story of the Shadowhunter books, but as I was doing my research, the very first book that came on the series, it's called What Really Happened in Peru. So let me know if you guys have read that book. Like, I am so intrigued about it because, as you know, I am from Peru, and when I saw that, and that was kind of like the beginning of all of these books, I don't know how related is it to the story. I don't know, because it's like, again, two trilogies prior to that, and I don't know how deep I want to go into the history of these books to finally be able to read Chain of Gold, but I'm so intrigued about it. So if you are a big follower of this series, please let me know. So I'll probably start with this and then see how much more I want to read from the Shadowhunter series. So yeah, so then I decided to add on my TBR a couple of books that are going to be additional, optional, if I make it through the books that I'm already sharing with you today, without putting too much pressure on myself. So hopefully I'll get to this one. So this one is the Song of Achilles, which, oh my gosh, I recently got it and I've been dying to read it, and I'm excited to get to this one, hopefully. And I have heard so many beautiful things about this book. This is supposed to be a book about romance and supposed to make you cry, which I don't think I've ever read a book about romance before, and it sounds so interesting. So hopefully I'll get to this as well. And the other one that I want to read is a YA book, and this is The House of Salt and Sorrows. It's about 12 sisters, and then some of them start dying, and one of the sisters discovers that the deaths were probably not accidental, so she starts going into this hunt to know what actually happened to her sister. So I'm really intrigued about it, and it's also a historical fiction, which I love. And so yeah, so I'm excited to get to this book as well. So there you have it, my friends. Those are the books that I want to read this month. Hopefully I'll get to all of them, and we'll see how that goes. Let me know which books you are reading, which books you are planning on reading, or if any of these books interest you to read as well. So I'm going to have all of these books listed below in case that you want to pick some of these ones out. Let me know if you have any recommendations on books for me to read, something that you recently read that you enjoy so much. Please let me know on the comments down below so I can add those to my Amazon wish list, which I'm also going to link below as well. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye. Now it's ice cream time. I can't open it.